I'm Chase Gore.
I'm Chris Gore.
And this is the Mustang Roundup Show Tennis Edition. And we're here in the studio, brought to you by Daniel Montoya with Monument Realty. Our backdrop here is brought to you by local business Nicks and Knacks. And we're going to go ahead and be talking some Andrews Mustang tennis. And we got some special guests. We got the coach and two special guests along with him, athletes in studio. And we'll be right back.
We're here back on the Mustang Roundup Show Tennis Edition with Coach Rick Garcia of the Andrews Mustangs tennis program. Coach Garcia, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I've got a little personal experience with Coach Garcia. As a lot of you may know, my youngest son, Ty, played tennis for him last year. Got to know Coach Garcia going around the tournaments. Super guy, personable guy. We're very, very lucky to have him here in Andrews. And we're glad he's here. So we'll get right into it, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much for having us again here. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a pleasure coaching your son. And you're right, he is something else.
Yes, he is.
Just like every kid, you know, he's unique, and and I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
I appreciate it, Coach. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been coaching, and tell us about your journey, how you got to Andrews last year.
Well, this is my 33rd year.
Wow.
In coaching. I've coached every sport except for swimming and golf. But I got into tennis as a young age, not when I was growing up, but I graduated from Saul Ross, went to Saul Ross State University in Alpine, Texas. Yeah. Yes, sir. And I did volleyball. And then I had the head coach, tennis coach, say, I need some help. And, of course, being kines, phys ed teacher, you do a little bit of everything. So that's how I got into it. And I've always been a student of any sport that I've coached. I'm one of those that loves to chit-chat. Like you said, I love to visit and pick people's brains.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's one of the ways I got into tennis. The way I got to Andrews was that my grandkids very adamant, came to me with. They've been here since they were in pre-K. My daughter Jenny lives here with her husband Isai. And we grandkids would come visit. Grandpa, we're the only ones that don't have our grandparents here in town, so they put that guilt trip on me.
Guilt trip, yeah, that'll do it every time. Yeah.
We had the opportunity came. My daughter said, "Hey, there's going to be a tennis opening job, and come by and look at it." I was at Alpine at that time, coaching volleyball, basketball, tennis, and I came down and interviewed with Dr. Caranco. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Caranco early, because he was the one that convinced me. He said, you want to be with your grandkids, and let me tell you, once your grandkids grow, that's it.
Yep.
So I think it was, talked to my wife, and I thought it was a good fit. Just by visiting the school.
Absolutely.
And, of course, coming down here almost twice or three times a month.
Right.
Getting to know the people.
You're here all the time anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So I figured, why not? And, I fell into a great situation with the kids from last year. And I felt comfortable. I got to meet him. I got to see him in district the year before.
I remember that in Seminole, yeah.
Seminole, yes, sir. And just by watching him, just by interacting with him, felt, I think this is going to be a good fit for me. So
turned out well.
Turned out
well.
Very well, and it's still going. So.
Absolutely, Coach. And so now that we've talked about how you got the Andrews and some of those things. Elaborate. Tell us a little bit about your staff.
Well, one of the things that we're very grateful that we're one of the only middle schools that have their own individual coaches. We have some experienced coaches down there. I've always had the philosophy that you surround yourself with good people, and I think that you never stop learning, and you work with each other. I have two junior high coaches, Coach May, which if some of you didn't know, he's retired.
I saw that.
So that's gonna put a little hole in our program. But like anything else, we'll just go out there and find someone that
plugging along.
Yeah, exactly. And then Coach Swiden, he was at the high school. Now he's at the middle school helping out. And of course, I was very fortunate when I first got here that I got introduced to Mr. Jacob Harper.
Yep, Jacob. Yeah.
Jacob Harper is an Andrews grad. And played, and I'm very fortunate to have him on the staff. As an assistant, he's a young buck.
I remember Jacob when my oldest son, pardon me, Coach, when my oldest son played tennis as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Jacob was a senior whenever he was a freshman,
Nice.
so I saw him play.
Yeah, no, he's full of energy, and like I said, he's one of those individuals that, of course, I've learned throughout the years that when you're looking for staff members or assistant coaches, you always, we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And I think that he complements my weaknesses in regards to getting out there, competing against the Fosters and the Goods and everyone else. That he goes out there and just lays it on the line.
Sure.
So again, very fortunate to have those individuals on the staff.
Sounds like a solid staff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about the Andrews Mustang tennis season this year and how that went and what's coming down the road.
Well, let me start a little bit with the fall season. This year we lost, as you can tell, we lost 5 great seniors last year. And the momentum, like the program had been there. So our vision was that we had some young kids, of course, that were being developed at the junior high that were coming up, and they were going to be put in a situation where they would have to grow up very fast.
Right.
And they did, and we've had 8 freshmen that were part of that freshman, were part of that team tennis in the fall.
Yeah, that's.
And I think that we were
Learn on the fly.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is something that what helped us was that we had the Graisyn Good and Maddux Foster, and we had those seniors and juniors that were there to help them along the way.
Sure.
And they took their hits. They took, they were down, came up, and some of them did grow in the fall, and some of them, the rest of them grew in the spring. And it's been good. When we were district champions in team tennis, by district champions, area champions. Of course, we lost a close one in the regional qualifier to Brownfield.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot, in my opinion.
Good experience for the young ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the future looks bright. We took that over to the spring. And of course, as spring started, it's a little different for some of those kids because some of those kids were not used to, playing so much tennis.
Sure, yeah. Different middle school to high school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Middle school, I'll never forget a little story. We went to Kerrville in the fall, and there was 2 girls playing doubles, and they were struggling. And so we went up to them and said, "Girls, what's going on? Coach, we've never had no one hit it back to us."
Yeah.
that was in junior high. And then
I've seen some of those matches in junior high.
And then after that, they got into it, and then after a while, another match said, "Girls, what's happening now?" They're hitting pretty fast, Coach.
Yeah.
So they got introduced to some good tennis early in the fall, which I felt that we needed that.
Yeah.
I think that in order for us to get better, we have to play up, and that's something that the tradition's always been here. Yeah. And we just want to maintain.
Well, and like you said, when you have those younger players, Coach, you've coached for many years, different levels, different sports. You're going to have years where you're senior laden, and you got a lot of experience, and you're going to have years where you're not.
Exactly.
But those years where you have younger players, regardless of sport, whether it's tennis, golf, basketball, football, baseball, when you have those years where you have the younger players, sometimes trial by fire can test your patience at times. But when it's all said and done, it really helps the kids down the road.
You're right. You're exactly right. And I think what also helps is the kids buying into the program.
Yes.
When I first got here, we did some things that were a little orthodox, conditioning, weight training, and it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. And I think one of the things that what really helps is, of course, you have to have that culture of, yeah, we've been winning, but we've been winning with different philosophies and different coaches. But the kids don't change.
Right.
Hardworking kids are there. So all you have to do is, keep up with them and.
You've heard the expression, a talented kid that works hard will beat a talented kid that does it all day long. So
exactly.
Yes, and and we've seen that. I know when you came in last year, you had him lifting some weights, and I think that lit a spark under Ty, because I don't know if you guys have seen Ty, but Ty's he's really into lifting weights now. So, yeah, he is.
Well, good. I'm glad. And like we've always talked about. Tennis is a lifetime sport.
Sure.
It's not like football or,
you're done whenever you're
exactly. I think I think tennis is one of those sports that really can carry on.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that, as a physical educator, I've always taught that, we need to introduce sports that all can participate.
Absolutely.
Whether you hit the ball short, whether you hit the ball long, at least you're having movement.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that.
Well, tennis and golf, you can play.
Exactly.
And now with pickleball, you can play to your 90.
Tell you. That is correct.
That's
Yep, exactly.
Well, so you said you were in Alpine. I know we talked earlier, Fort Hancock at one time, where we knew some of the same people.
Yep.
How is Andrews different from some of the communities school districts you've been in the past in your career?
I've been blessed to be in communities, very small communities. From Fort Hancock, I went to Del City.
I've been through there.
Let me tell you, Del City, at the time I was there, we had 100 students, K through 12.
Oh, wow.
So and then from there, I ended up, my wife's originally from Alpine, so wanted to get closer to Alpine. So I was in Marfa for a year, before I got the job at Saul Ross. My intentions were not to coach at the college level.
Right.
But I love teaching, and it entailed that I had to teach some college classes along with coaching. So to me, I felt, this is a win-win situation for me. And I think that one of the things that really has helped is that every community I've been has been very inviting.
Sure.
I really couldn't tell you that Fort Hancock's better everywhere I've been. And I think it works both ways.
Absolutely.
It's like I'll teach my own kids and teach my players. In order to gain respect, you have to respect. And not only, who the person is, but, property or, values.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the things that once parents see that and kids see that, they're like, you know what?
It's universal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So overall, it's been great. I've been blessed for this past 33 years, and I'm hoping that it
continues. Well, Coach, I'm so glad you came on. It's good to see you. Like I said, I got to know Coach Garcia pretty well last year, and we're always out there supporting you guys, wishing you guys nothing but success.
Thank you. Yes.
Glad you came on.
I appreciate you.
Good to see you. Yes,
always,
sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome back here to the Mustang Roundup Show Tennis Edition. We're here with two of the seniors on the Andrews Mustang tennis team. We've got senior Maddux Foster. I've gotten to know Maddux over the years. He was a good friend with my son Ty, so he's been over at my house a lot. I think New Year's Day we were watching the New Year's Eve, the Alabama and Michigan, and
yes, sir.
So I've gotten to know Maddux over the years. But Maddux, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So Maddux last year was the 4A regional finalist in Class 4A.
Yes, sir.
Had a good run, and we're hoping that's going to happen again this year. To start off with that, but Maddux, go ahead and introduce yourself, what grade you're in, and how you got into tennis.
So, of course, my name is Maddux Foster. I'm currently a senior at Andrews High School. Well, I actually got into tennis. I was a golfer for a long time. I competed in all the junior PGA stuff, and I did that. And, well, my older brother, Cade, had played tennis at Permian. And my dad had played tennis in high school for Coach Morgan Walker, currently at Plano West, and they've won 8 state championships for 6A. And one day I went with my dad and my brother to go watch them practice, and I was like, you know what, that looks kind of fun. And so my 6th grade year, I quit golf. 7th grade came around, and I put tennis on that sheet, and here we are today. So,
yeah, I can remember watching Maddux when he was in middle school. What, you were about 4 or 5? You were a little bitty, Maddux.
Oh yeah, I was tiny.
I tell you, he could play. I don't think. Do you ever lose a match in junior high?
I think I lost one match out of those 2 years.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe it. Well, tell us a little bit about how the season's gone so far. Coach Garcia had, kind of went over the fall and into the spring. Talk to us a little bit about your senior season, about this season.
So obviously last year's season was great, running up as a state finalist to getting second. So, but this year, so the fall, it was kind of hard to adjust to the new team. As Coach said, we had nine freshmen.
A lot of
freshmen, and we had a lot of sophomores.
Lost 5 seniors.
Yep, and those 5 seniors were probably some of the people that I'd consider like brothers and sisters.
Sure.
People that I've known for 6 years, but, whenever you're traveling 4 to 6 hours and you spend 12 hours competing, and then that drive back, you're spending a lot of time with these people. So it was a hard adjustment. So we had to get through some mental things. Started off rough. We started to clean it up. competed in the tennis district. We did well, and moved on to area, and then lost for the regional qualifying. But the fall was good. We started to clean it up. Off season came around, and the spring it again started off a little rough. Cleaned it up great at a few tournaments. Got my butt kicked once or twice. Just a good reality check. Brought it back at practice. We came back and we've won a lot of good matches, competed in some tough matches, and so we're looking forward, after this district title, we're looking forward to competing at region again.
And where's regionals at this year?
Region will be held at Texas Tech University.
Same as last year.
Yes, sir.
They have it there every year?
Yes, sir. McLeod Tennis Center.
That's a good venue.
Yes.
Enjoyed that last year. All right, so you kind of already went over how long you've been playing tennis. Who are some of the people that influenced you to get into tennis? I think you kind of went over that with your dad and your brother.
Yeah, my dad and my brother, and of course, sitting and having dinner with my dad and my brother, watching professional tennis on TV. So, of course, I had some athletes like Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch. And then, of course, all the old tennis, so like Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. So, having those professional athletes that kind of every high school or collegiate athlete has to influence them. But also, my dad and my older brother. But also, whenever I got onto the team, your son, Ty Gore, Mason Moore, Carlos Mario Porras Espino.
Yeah, Carlos,
with all of his last names.
Carlos,
All those guys pushed me to become a better athlete and a better player. And so, of course, and then my middle school coach, Terry Duzan, he taught me a lot about the game, fundamentals, court etiquette, everything. And that's another person I'd like to give a shout out to, is the amount of selflessness that man had. It was never about him, it was always about the kids.
Yeah, Coach Duzan's a good one.
Yes, he's a good guy, and he's somebody that you maybe have once in your lifetime. Yeah. And so I'm very grateful to have somebody like that to have taught me early on. And he coached us for 1 year in high school as well. And so, it's great to have somebody like that in your life.
Absolutely. Coach Duzan did a fantastic job. Good guy, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some of the goals that you've had that you set for, I bet I know what the answer to this is, but before the season started and as you've moved along, what are some of the goals you've accomplished and some that you're hoping to accomplish as you move on to regionals here next week?
Obviously coming in as a freshman and learning about the state championships, that's always been a goal, is to go and compete. And now I've competed at the state championships, finishing second. So now the goal this year is to win first, to be a state champion. But we got to take it one step at a time. So next week it'll be not to play the best tennis of your life or to play like somebody else, but just to be the best athlete you can that day and find a way to win a region, and then move on.
That's the right attitude, Maddux. That's what you got to do. You can't get ahead of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you've kind of given shout outs to people you have wanted to, but I'll give you one more chance. Anybody else you'd like to mention that you might have forgotten that's helped you along the way?
Obviously, my parents, my mom and my stepdad, they were the ones that took me to all the tournaments up in Lubbock and watched all the poor tennis as a middle school student athlete. But no, they were there. They took me to the tournaments. They took me to Bush to go compete. And obviously, Graisyn Good has always been there since 7th grade. And then my coaches up at Bush are fantastic players, good coaches. And then, I have a lot of great friends from other teams, Kenyon Randall or OHS with Nathan Reddy, sure. Andre Perez from Lee. There's a lot
guys
of good
that push you.
Yeah, guys to push you, but also really personal guys that you can talk to and have a good time with. And of course, having Coach Garcia and Jacob Harper, even though I've only had them for 1 or 2 years as coaches, they are people that have continually pushed me to not only be a better player or a better athlete, but also a better person. Having those character development situations is, fighting through those tough moments.
Yeah, that's what coaching's about. That's absolutely, apart from teaching you your craft, what you do is, building you into a better young man, for sure.
Yes, and I'm looking forward. It is a kind of a bittersweet deal leaving as a senior, but moving into being a collegiate athlete.
What are your plans?
So I'm attending Hardin-Simmons University in the fall of 2024 as a exercise science major, in which I will be an athlete on the men's tennis team.
Fantastic. Well, Maddux, we are looking forward to seeing what you do, as well as the other regional qualifiers. And if you or any of the other Andrews qualifiers make it to San Antonio, Ty and I will be there.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Mustang Sports Roundup Show Tennis Edition. I'm here with Graisyn Good. And Graisyn, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, sir, for having me. I'm Graisyn Good, and I'm a senior, and I've been playing tennis for 6 years.
What have you been involved in any other sports or functions at AHS?
Growing up, I played volleyball and basketball because that's what my mom did, and that's like what I was introduced to. I never thought anything about playing tennis. My grandparents played golf, and so I was forced to attend golf camp where I was introduced to tennis. And then I decided that I wanted to try and play tennis in middle school. And Coach Suzanne, my middle school coach, told me that I couldn't play volleyball, but I could try out for the basketball team. So I started by playing tennis, and I played basketball, made it to the last round of cuts and got cut. And so I just kept playing tennis. I never tried any sports after that. And that's what led me here today.
The tennis.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us a little bit about how this season's gone and what's coming down the road. Obviously, you can elaborate on that.
Yes, sir. Well, the fall season was great. Last year, we lost 5 seniors. It was a hard loss because they were some of our closest friends that we've been playing tennis with for 6 years. And we had 8 freshmen, and it was a hard adjustment, but they were all willing to work, which made it a lot easier to be a senior and lead them on the team. The team season went pretty well. We finally came together towards the end and did as well as we were able to, and we lost in the regional qualifiers. And then spring season, I competed in 4 tournaments before I got hurt. 3 of the tournaments, we got first place. I played mixed doubles with Sidon Salgado, and the last tournament I played in, we got second.
Well, good. So tell us a little bit how you got hurt and where did you get hurt at?
We attended the Uvalde tennis tournament, and the day before the tournament, I got injured in the hotel. And I thought it was just a sprain, and I was going to be able to play, but I had to end up going to the hospital and found out that it was broken. I had to have surgery.
So you are, I guess, for the season, you're done for the year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you had told us, Graisyn, how you got into tennis you've been playing since the 7th grade. Who are some of the people who influenced you?
Definitely Maddux. He became one of my best friends in the 7th grade, and we are still best friends today. Without him, I probably would not be here, because he's helped me a lot. I want to thank my parents, especially my mom, because she drove me to all the lessons, all the tournaments. She's come and supported me at everything.
Lessons.
Yes, and paid for everything, of course. And Coach Suzanne was definitely someone that influenced me. He made me develop my love for tennis, because without him, I don't think I'd be here today. And then Coach Garcia and Coach Harper for stepping in when they did, because if they didn't, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Coach Garcia has definitely helped me grow as a person and a player. He's definitely taught me lots of lessons, and same with Coach Harper. He's helped me progress my game a lot.
Good people. You got some good people behind you,
sir.
For sure. So what goals do you have, obviously, with your injury? I guess your tennis is done for this year, but what are your goals beyond when you graduate in next month?
Well, I plan to attend Texas Tech University in the fall, and I'm majoring in nursing. So I'm very excited for that, and I'm thinking about playing intramural tennis.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yes, sir.
Following in your mom's footsteps with the nursing. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody else you'd like to give a shout out to?
No, sir. That's really it. Just for everyone that's been supporting me and been there for me.
Well, Graisyn, we're glad you're here. I got to know Graisyn last year. She was my son Ty's mixed doubles partner. They were regional qualifiers, and so I got to watch her play a lot of tennis. They went to a lot of lessons.
Yes, sir.
I got to know her parents really well, and it's good to see her. Glad to have her here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we are so glad that everybody tuned in. Thankful to Coach Garcia, Graisyn Good, Maddux Foster. I wish you guys nothing but the best moving forward. Maddux, good luck, and I hope to see you in San Antonio in about 3 or 4 weeks.
All right, that's going to conclude the Mustang Roundup Show Tennis Edition. Special thanks to Daniel Montoya with Monument Realty, Nixon Nax for our backdrop. Special thanks to Coach Garcia and Maddux Foster and Graisyn Good for coming on. Also want to thank my co-host, Chris Gore. Thank you. And always remember, folks, it's a great day to be a Mustang.